Dozens of students in Indiana are hurt or killed every year waiting for their school buses in the dark. March 2007, a 14-year-old Marshall Middle School student was waiting for her school bus alone in the dark at 7 a.m. She was abducted and raped. That same month, a 15-year-old Fisher student was waiting for her school bus at 6:50 a.m. She was abducted and raped.
I mean, it's horrible, and we don't really allow children out after dark at night. So why are we, we're allowing them out in the morning, and there's a lot less people, and those abductions and things, they just don't need to happen.
A year later, a young Indianapolis boy was walking to school at 6 a.m. He was hit by a pickup truck and died. Last year, 15-year-old Carmel High School student Zhang Kei was waiting for his school bus at 6:45 a.m. He was run over by the bus. The driver said he couldn't see the student because it was so dark. This fall, 2 Newcastle students were walking to school at 7:30 a.m. in the dark. A car struck both of them. 11-year-old Dalton Hatfield died at the scene, and 17-year-old Donald Wethington was taken to a hospital with severe injuries.
These events are so tragic. I couldn't imagine if they happened to my kids, and I don't allow them out after dark at night. So walking to school or waiting for the school bus, I would never forgive myself.
Morning darkness was unsafe for these children and countless others throughout Indiana. State Representative Phil Hinkle has a plan to change that. He wants to move the entire state to Central Time. The proposed time zone change will give Hoosiers an extra hour of sunlight in the morning.
Need to be put into the Central Time Zone is for the safety of the kids. It is so pitch black at 6:15, 6:20 in the morning when school buses go down, and it's dark in the urban areas and suburban areas. So you can only imagine what it's like out in the rural areas. That 1 hour of light will make a big difference.
The Central Time Coalition agrees. This organization works to educate Hoosiers about the benefits of Central Time. Carmel resident Sue Dillon formed the coalition in April 2009 after hearing about Zhang Kei's fatal accident.
It's a tragedy. Mm-hmm. It's a tragedy all the way around. A tragedy, of course, for the families, but for the teacher, for the whole education community. When those tragedies happen, they point out that it's unsafe. And we don't want any more victims of morning darkness among our students.
Studies show that Indiana currently has 120 days with sunrises before 7 a.m. However, if Indiana moved to Central Time, it would give the state 315 days of sunrises before 7 a.m. Research shows that earlier sunrises will not only increase safety for children in the morning, but also improve their performance in the classroom.
Some kids are in school, their school starts at 7:30. It means they've been there in their classroom and in their seats almost an hour before the sun rises. I mean, they're not going to perform because their bodies aren't awake for another. I mean, you might as well write off the first hour of school.
Critics of Central Time include the Indiana Chamber of Commerce. Manager of Business Development Marcus Feeman argues that Indiana should be on the same time as New York and the rest of the East Coast because of the stock market.
It's more strategically advantageous for us to be in sync with the East Coast rather than the West Coast. And so that 1 hour doesn't necessarily sound that significant, to us on a day-to-day basis, but when it comes to the commerce aspect of it, it does make a tremendous effect.
Thousands of Indiana farmers and construction workers could also benefit from the switch. Eastern Time affects professions like these more than others since they work outside.
Because they go by the sun, not by the time. So they're still working 8 in the evening because it's light and everyone else is home relaxing. So they're kind of on a different pace than the rest of the state is on.
Indiana switched to daylight saving time 4 years ago. 80 counties are on Eastern Time. 12 counties are in Central Time. So what time is it in Indiana?
Daylight Savings Time, DST, eliminated the confusion among the states as to what time Indiana was on. And the Central Time Zone will eliminate among Hoosiers as to what time Indiana is on.
Hoosiers are divided into two camps. Some prefer more morning sunlight, while others prefer more evening sunlight.
Or we think that this is a public policy decision that needs to be based on health, safety, and welfare, not personal preference. Because the personal preferences are definitely split. And I think we have to keep our priorities. I mean, how important is it for you to have evening sunset if it means 2 Newcastle kids are going to be hit by a car?
Hinkle plans to present Central Time legislation to the Indiana General Assembly in January. It must pass both the State House and the Senate. Governor Mitch Daniels must also sign the law. The final decision, however, rests with the U.S. Department of Transportation, which has the power to switch the state from Eastern Time to Central Time. Meanwhile, Hinkle continues to urge Hoosiers to consider the time change and how it will help keep our children safe.
Those who say, leave it alone, don't touch it, it's fine the way it is, it's not fine the way it is.